tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads from over 200 countries and your #1 source in after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows. Interviewing celebrities and showrunners. And bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Hey, all you Legend of Korra fans out there, how you doing? Welcome back. My name is Liz Rishmawy. I will be taking over for the lead host today because unfortunately John Quick could not be with us. And today we're actually recapping 3 episodes, episode 9, 10, and 11.
Because we're insane.
Joining me today on the panel, like always, is the lovely Katie Cullen.
Hi, all my buddies.
And of course, Tauri Miller.
Air power!
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, as you guys all know, we've been recapping about 2 episodes back to back to catch up, but because we hit an uneven number, basically, we really wanted to focus on next week's finale. So here we are trying to recap these 3, and then we'll get back to you next week with the fun finale.
So we are going to make a high-speed pass. Bear with us.
Yes.
Let's go.
All right. So first episode up is episode 9, Stakeout. This is where we left off, where basically Korra and the gang are trying to chase down Aiwei after we found out that Sue basically let them leave, against Lin's wishes. Basically, so we have them chasing after them, going close toward where the desert is, where we find the Misty Palms, and they find the Jeep. And that's when the team basically decides to split up. Did you guys kind of like the whole thing behind, Bolin?
Bolin is
of course.
so bad at this. Let's be incognito. Bright yellow poncho.
Yes.
And then Mako just goes with it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, guys, that's no one's gonna recognize you there.
Yeah, it's kind of blend
Those aren't
in.
fluorescent.
Yeah, it's going to blend in with the desert town.
Totally.
Yeah. But before, we find that they all kind of like wander in together, and there's these wanted posters because now they are officially outlawed by the Queen, and they're wanted because they, let go of all the airbenders. So they're basically Bossing Say enemies
Fugitives.
#1.
Yeah.
It's so funny because, of course, Bolin first taking in, they must be, they're my fans, and,
No,
taking...
they're bounty hunters. Honey, stop.
Exactly. But yeah, going back a little bit, they do find the Jeep. They kind of dash out of there as soon as they realize that everybody probably wants a piece of them to get a bounty on them. And, they go ahead and they find the Jeep. And that's when Mako and Bolin basically decide, hey, look, let's not bring a lot of attention to ourselves. Cute poncho.
Let's do bright yellow ponchos. But
And-
they eventually do see Aiwei walking by, and they follow him to this inn.
Yes, but and then in the meantime, in the interim, we do see that Bolin actually thinks that these 2 very tough-looking guys, who he assumes to be bounty hunters, is following them. So they're trying to make a breakaway, and that's when they run into Aiwei and chase him back to the inn.
Yes.
And to where they meet back with Korra and Asami. Where they left them stay behind, and while they were left behind, they found a clue in the Jeep, something to do with what was the name? Something about find the Zybao Grove.
Yes, the Zybao Grove.
Yeah, tonight, sundown, Zybao Grove.
Yeah.
Which they cannot find on a map, despite the best efforts of the tiny, adorable spirit.
And the little
dancing
spirits
on
trying
it.
to dance and tell them.
But nope, they can't find it.
Yeah, so
they regroup, head to the inn. We need a room across from this one.
Yes.
It won't. No, you can't. We need a room across from this one.
Yeah, and basically, she's very hesitant to the innkeeper, doesn't want to rent to a bunch of teenagers because the last ones that did wreck the place. So we come to find the bounty hunters, or who we assumed were bounty hunters, chasing Bolin, came in, and they were just huge fans.
Yeah.
Love that little
nerding out.
moment.
He's a mover star.
Yes.
Can you make it out?
Yeah, it was, and it's so funny because they are really tough looking.
Yeah.
So for them to fan gush over Bolin, which is always a good moment with that. And so of course the innkeeper's like, well, why didn't you tell me you were somebody special? And then insists that they do a bigger room because that one's too small for the 4 of them.
It'll be fine. It is not fine. It's like a studio apartment,
that
and
they-
they have Naga.
They
in
had
it.
to bring Naga in. Like, they couldn't leave
course.
Naga by the Jeeps. That was just funny to me. But
They actually really couldn't. They need her.
Yeah.
And then they find, you know, they're basically keeping watch. And then, of course, to pass the time, we have Bolin finding the Pai Show board and basically getting his butt handed to him by Asami.
Over and over and over. And then sundown hits and they realize he hasn't left his room.
Exactly.
Why hasn't he left his room?
Exactly. And making sure, of course, to the fact, though, to stress to Korra how important it is that she makes sure one of her avatar duties is to make all the rules of Pai Sho playing across the world the same rules.
Right.
Which is very important. But yes, as Katie has said, they find out that he hasn't left the room. And of course, Korra being Korra, as much as she has grown as a character, is very impatient. So she wants to break the cover, even though Mako says, hey guys, you know, this guy isn't going to break. Like, Zahir has been in prison for 13 years and they never spoke anything about their plans. We should really just follow and listen in. But of course, by the time sundown gets down, she's figuring, well, what if he left and we weren't watching? So they bust in, and then we see Aiwei
meditating.
And Poland's, that looks like an uncomfortable way to sleep.
Oh, shoot, the Grove is in the spirit world.
Yes.
I'm going to follow him. You watch my body. You watch the doors.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So Korra follows them in.
Yep, and basically what happens is she comes across the tree and everything where they're having their little meeting. And of course, Zahir blames Aiwei for the failure at Zaofu, basically saying that you ruined everything. And even though he's trying to say, no, it's good, no one followed me at the inn, I'm good, I destroyed all the records in my library. And he goes, no, dude, you're the loose end. To which, you know, before Korra can even though she tries to intervene, he grabs, phases out, and then chucks Aiwei into the fog of lost souls.
So he's done. We're not going to see him for ever.
We might see his body, but he kind of doesn't
Yeah.
have a soul anymore. So that's weird. And then, you know, we have this moment where Zahir is very peacefully telling Korra when she confronts him, I will answer all your questions. You deserve to at least have that much.
Right.
And then in the meantime,
We find out it's a distraction.
While he's meditating, he could say,
he has the
"Korra,
ability.
Misty palms in."
And we've never
Go.
seen this before with any of the people in either the old episodes with Aang to now. We didn't know anybody had the ability to still communicate while their body was meditating in the spirit realm.
Right.
Yeah, I don't care how good of a trained warrior he is. Zahir is pretty broken.
Yeah.
He's just broken.
But at the same time, though, you figure how many years he must have been meditating in that cell. He probably found out a couple of tricks that the other guys haven't actually invested that much time into.
That's true.
So
Still broken.
Still believable. But basically, yeah, they go into the Red Lotus. They say, hey, you know, talks about how the White Lotus, as we know when we watched the old episodes of the Legend of Avatar, that they were a secret society that didn't come out of hiding until 100 years later after Aang had basically won the war when they went to fight the war.
Right.
And then we come to find out that basically this guy that this place that they're at that was named after Zai Bao was this guy who didn't like how the White Lotus was basically becoming the subservience of governments and corruption and the leaders of all the different lands.
Yeah.
Which I thought was really interesting.
I mean,
And
yeah,
it turns out this particular guy had a very, very different idea of what balance
Very
should
much.
be.
Very much so. As
You were saying?
Oh, I mean, yeah. He viewed the White Lotus as puppets of the government at that point.
Yeah.
basically.
They lost their way. We're going to make the Red Lotus and do what we're actually supposed to do. Which, bottom line, anarchy.
Exactly.
Right.
He made a lot of sense right up until he said, yeah, we don't think there should be any big government or figureheads.
But
Total anarchy.
But if we bring it up into consideration again, what we've talked about, I think on other panels that you guys are with on me and about other shows in general, most villains don't view themselves as villains.
Right.
Oh, no, the villains are the heroes of their own story.
Exactly.
That's what makes a compelling villain.
Exactly.
Because otherwise you get this mustache-twirling wacko and you're just like,
Yeah.
you are one-dimensional and no one cares.
Exactly.
I mean,
Zahir has a point to him.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's insane, but he's got a point.
What were you
yeah,
saying, Tauri?
that's what I was going to, and that like all the leaders that we've seen have been like either useless or evil or moronic, you
Yeah.
know, and so like
or just self-absorbed.
yeah,
Exactly. And so basically he goes on to tell her, you know, she asks, well, why were you trying to kidnap me as a child? What was the point? She comes to find out that her uncle Unalaq was part of the Red Lotus. And the entire time, and basically he had met Zahir when they were teenagers, when they first signed up for the Red Lotus. And
Like it's the Boy Scouts.
Exactly. And finds out that that's where they learned about how Rava and Vatu and how Avatar Batu was foolish to sever them and close the portals. And, you know, they wanted to show the Avatar a better path for the world, basically.
Right.
Into which, you know, Korra's like, it sounds like a lot like brainwashing, you know.
But that's what the White Lotus did to you. Also brainwashing.
Exactly.
Sure.
And basically, you know, so they, you know, he's just basically carrying on to the story a little bit more about their discussion in spirit world. Meanwhile, stuff's going on in the real world, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
You know, he goes on to say nations and governments should be eliminated, and he points out that it's the only way to bring order. And like you guys referred to before, chaos. She mentions that
the natural order of the world
is disorder.
Chaos.
Is disorder.
Come on, guys.
And he mentions, he says, new growth cannot exist without first the destruction of the old, and mentions that was Guru Lahima, who was an airbender, who first said that, which of course, as we've noticed throughout this entire series so far, that he's very much into the Guru Lahima.
Guru Lahima, fan club president.
Exactly.
Tear open the robes to see the shirt.
Yes. And it's at that point where Korra is basically pleading with him, like, you know, this isn't the way to do it. You're basically not saying insane, but you know, that's what she's thinking. And he just says,
pretty much insane.
You know, she just, you know, he won't tell her what will happen when they do get their hands on her, and he basically phases out. And
by the way, we should have our hands on you already.
Yes.
My friends went to go pick you up.
And then just bye, peace out, logs off. And that's basically where we get back to where the battle's going, because I think Pulley, she stayed behind to watch Zahir's body, while Minghua and Ghassan.
Names.
Gesundheit.
What are names?
Gesundheit. They went out basically to capture them because they know they're at Ai Wei's room.
Right.
And we get into this epic battle. They can't wake up Korra, obviously, so they basically go where
they put Sami and Korra on Naga and send them off to try and get away. And Mako and Bolin take on these particular Red Lotus members. And boy, does that not go well for them.
No,
Not at all.
At all.
Especially as soon as Bolin fell into the pool. I was like, no.
It's like, oh, there we go. You're facing a waterbender.
His logic
We're done.
was sound. I mean,
To
if
get
you're,
away from
hot lava. You know, but it was basically one way or another they were doomed to
were
failure.
screwed, yeah.
You know, so we have these, you know, and then that's where the episode closes off, where we see Naga carrying off Korra and Asami, and we don't know what happened yet, but these rocks close, and for all we know, it was Ghassan.
Yeah.
They get caught
capturing
in a
them.
rock pyramid that was obviously bent around them. So,
Exactly.
the implication is that it's Ghassan.
Yeah.
But we find out actually at the very end when they correlate and all the Red Lotus get together, where Minghua says, well, maybe we have some use for these two fools, but the Earth Kingdom actually captured the Avatar and her friend.
Yes.
And then that's when the episode closes off. So getting right into the next
All right.
one. Time crunch, you guys. Episode 10, we have Long Live the Queen. This one...
Which is not an ominous title in any
Oh,
capacity.
no, not at all. It's not sarcastic or foreshadowing.
You know, she changes her ways, right, guys?
Totally.
Right,
She's like, I'm a vegetarian now, and you know, I'm sorry about eating bear.
They moved Avatar to digital the week before this episode aired, and now we know why.
Exactly. And can I just say, one of my favorite parts about this episode, as we're getting to the Red Lotus going toward the Earth, Bossing Se, is Bolin's banter with Minghua and Ghassan.
Oh,
Basically,
yes, that's great.
you know, we have Mako being reasonable and like, why are you doing this and this, da-da-da, and always not going to ask questions, and Bolin's just like, so what did you do for 15 years, was it? 13.
It's only 13.
What'd you do for 13 years in
Felt
prison?
like
Did
30
you make
though.
arts and crafts?
Not
Did
a lot
you...
of supplies for arts and crafts in the prison, you know?
I made up stories about the guards.
Yeah, and then that was really funny where Bolin says, I'm going to do it about you. I'm going to assume that you were raised by your sister, you grew in your mustache by the time you were 13, and I'm sensing some sort of unspoken attraction between you two.
2 out of 3.
2 out of 3 ain't bad.
Not bad.
And yeah.
Do we know which two? No.
And then Mako obviously scolds him like, why are you trying to make friends with the bad guys? Sorry.
Gag them. We're almost there. Thank you, Zahir. You've ruined the moment.
Exactly. But then, yes, and then so we flash forward a little bit, you know, to stay on topic with the Ba Sing Se. Red Lotus basically gets presented to the queen after Gunn says, she goes, you know I don't speak to bounty hunters. But the whole thing was they insisted because they have information about where the airbenders are.
Right.
So, of course, being the selfish awful person that she is, and sees that there's something in it for her, the Earth Queen agrees to see them. And he's very polite. I mean, he's a very educated man, and he knows he's not going to get anything with this self-absorbed, twisted woman unless he caters to her ego.
Right.
Zahir knows how to work people over.
Yes.
He's good at people.
I mean, because remember, he wasn't a bender before this, so he obviously had to rely on his cunning
wit,
and his wit for everything that happened before, you know, he got his powers. So basically, they even insist. She goes, "Oh, what? So you think this is going to make your bounty larger?" And he says, "No, by all means, ma'am. These two, which she knows immediately who they are, you know, we'll give them as a gift to you. But our thing is, we want to exchange where your airbenders are for the avatar."
Yeah.
Because we know you have her and we know you're bringing her in.
Yes.
Cool. Sounds good.
Well, basically, you know, they have to, he has to work her a bit by saying, you know, look, you're going to have the avatar. What are you going to do with her? Like, you're going to basically piss off every other nation.
International incident time.
International incident time. You're going to make everybody angry if you keep her. Where if you give her to us, she won't be a problem for you anymore. You know, even though the queen's like, what are you going to do? They're like, don't worry about it, but she won't be in your hair. And that's all the queen needs to hear. So she basically goes, cool, wait off in the other room. And then Bolin and Mako basically get sent down straight to the dungeons. And then we have this... I love the constipation sound that he makes, where they're trying to escape from the dungeon at this point, and you know, Mako's trying so hard to encourage Bolin. You can metal bend. You can metal bend.
No. So much no.
And just how they had all the prisoners. Like, I love, this was a very kind of solemn episode, or at least the part in Ba Sing Se was very serious. Yeah. But we have the comedy relief, so of course, God bless Bolin.
Yeah.
But, you know, that whole scenario doesn't work. And then they find out, that's when Zahir's in the room saying, it's taking too long, I'm going to see what's up. And he goes and he eavesdrops basically on the queen, where...
Sneaks in like a ninja.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow, this man.
Yeah. And
so broken.
And he mentioned, and he sees the because he saw the Dai Li agent rushing off like very hurriedly to where the queen's chambers were. So I mean,
that's not telling.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So follows him, finds out that the airship had crashed, and so they have to retrieve her. And he knows, and the rest of the Red Lotus know that they're not going to get her again. Like, we're going to have to this isn't going to work. We need to, you know, back out. Yeah. So, you know, basically, they, you know, that's when he kind of like, they all come into the room, and she's like,
how dare you come in here unannounced? I'm the queen.
Exactly.
Insert angry phreezes.
Threatens to throw them into the dungeon, and then she changes up the plan and says, tell me where the airbenders are, lest you, if you enjoy your freedom, you will tell me where they are. And he goes, that's not part of the plan. And she goes, well, too bad. And that's when all hell breaks loose. Yeah. And again,
murder.
Dai Li agents, remember how strong they were back in the original series with Aang, and how crazy it is, how easily overtaken they were by these 4 benders. Yeah. In just a snap like that, it wasn't even like as overdrawn as it was like even when they're fighting Mako and Bolin. So, I mean, that was, you know, something to behold. And then we have the creepy part.
Oh, yeah.
There's really no way around how utterly messed up this is.
I know, but it's so cool, and it was so deserving because I hated the queen so much, and there was
I don't think anyone deserves that.
There was no retribution.
I don't think anyone deserves that.
Well, she ate Bosco. But
supposedly.
I don't want to put it past her.
Anyway.
But she, you know, we have her saying you wouldn't dare hurt the queen, and he goes, well, I forgot to tell you that I don't really believe in queens. And he has this move now where, so scary, he basically suffocates her and withdraws all of the air out of her lungs. And they do it in a very classy way, obviously, because again, this is rated Y7 and up. But where they don't show her collapse dead to the ground. But yeah, guys, if you didn't know,
you can hear her suffocate.
She did.
And you get that close-up shot of her like bloodshot eyes.
Yeah,
brutal.
She did.
This was a pretty awful way to die. You know, there's generations upon generations of air nomads spinning in their graves.
Yes. And then that's when we basically have them go into a room where they have this big, you know, the overhead speakers that beckon and echo out throughout all of Ba Sing Se. And, you know, when Minghua is really rough with this guy, like, who the heck are you? You know, he's very calm, like, hey, we're trying to help people like him. He's just a civilian. We're trying to help them. Don't take it out on him.
Right.
Let him know, look, we just overthrew the queen, so you better let us use this thing.
Time to make an announcement.
Yeah, he banes the city.
By the way, your queen's dead. I'm not going to take over. It's up to you guys to run the city on your own. And Ghassan brings the wall down.
Yeah, and he basically, and then he also specified, it doesn't matter who I am or what group I'm part of. That's not the point. The point is that I'm not even taking over the Earth Kingdom. You guys should reign on your own, and that's that. And then, of course, you know, going back to the prison, they release Bolin thinking he actually metal bended and helped everybody else except for him and Mako. And comes to find that it was Zahir, of course, and he goes, I'm going to let you guys go, but you need to deliver a message to the Avatar for me. Because as they discussed in the room before he went and, you know, bombarded the queen, he even said, we're not going to chase her anymore. We're not going to do that. So
we're bringing her to us.
Yeah. So whatever the message is, we don't find out that till the next episode anyway, but we know it's serious. And so going back to Korra and Asami on their little adventure. We have basically them getting let in, and Korra's pleading with these guards that, you know, there's a terrorist group that I spoke to in the spirit world, and the queen's in trouble, and this guy's crazy, and the guy's just like,
you're talking about spirit worlds and terrorists, and you say he's crazy?
Yeah, exactly. And so, I mean, but then again, in a world where there's magic and airbending and all this stuff, you think that the guy would, you know, there's spirits all over, you know?
They're literally
she's the Avatar, you know that. But
and they have Korra all Hannibal Lectered up with the mask and the straitjacket on the little wheel dolly. It's
like I didn't even
that's messed up.
They didn't even do that to Boomy so much when they locked him up, but his face was free, so maybe they learned from that and had to give her the
Boomy,
mask.
They just put him in a box.
Yeah, I know, but they learned from the face thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically, you know, we have Asami playing to her lady charms to this guard that is locking them together in the room. He was going to lock her to the floor, and she goes, oh, please, it's such a long ride. Can't you just lock me to the wall? And, you know,
so that way I can stand.
It's not as uncomfortable.
It's basically the same thing.
I mean, I can't get away.
All right, whatever, sure.
Yeah, and then, of course, I love how, like, Korra's trying to play up and, like, can I have some water? No, I'm not going to give you rocks or fire or...
I can't do anything about air.
But, you know, it is what it is. So we have that whole mode, and then we find out it's because the Cabbage Corporation, which I love the idea of the cabbage guy, just like...
my cabbages!
My cabbages!
I give up. We're done with cabbages. We're going into industry.
Long live the cabbage cart guy. But yeah, we find out that she says, look, the fleets that the Earth Queen has are made by the Cabbage Corporation, and they're really shoddy at what, you know, their stuff.
Yeah.
So, you know, sure enough, she just uses all her strength and busts off this freaking pole, the railing that's locking her to it. And she's like, oh, that's just shoddy work. And she uses it to pry open the floor panels and just tells Korra, give me 5 minutes and then call for help. To which she does. And we have this poor guard. I feel really bad for him, actually, because he's trying to be nice. He runs into the room, and then who's behind him and just knocks him right out and grabs the keys. Asami. And I love how perfectly timed it was. Like, she knew it would only take 5 minutes.
Right.
And you know, Korra's sitting there going, 1,000, 2, 1,000,
yeah.
3, 1,000.
And at the same time, I'm thinking how unbelievable it is, but at the same time, Asami knows enough about the schematics of not even her company's ship that she would know where she would have to go to ambush this guy.
Well, they're knockoff of her company's ship, so she'd know it backwards and forwards and backwards again.
Yeah, exactly.
And she and Korra know each other well enough to know that, okay, if she says 5 minutes, it's going to happen in 5 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah. And so basically, we have them running into the engine room where they have to overtake the ship, and Korra is a little overzealous.
Yeah.
And breaks the controls and the radio
with the guy's face,
everything. Yeah,
you know,
basically destroys the control console by
and then she says,
people straight into it.
And her excuse is, well, it's not my fault that the Cabbage Corporation is shoddy work and their stuff sucks and it breaks easily.
Well,
and then we have the
ship goes
down right into the dune crash, and basically we have them crawling out in the next scene, And well, you know, any landing you walk away from, they say is a good landing.
Yeah.
And we have the Earth guards and everybody just basically very, very upset with them. And, you know,
for good reason. They're in the middle of the desert, and there's something that kind of looks like the beginning of Tremors coming over the sand dunes.
And you know, and basically, you know, she apologizes, and the lead guy, captain's like, "You're still our prisoners. We're just gonna wait." And then that's when they see that thing.
Yeah.
Thinking it's a mirage, but then realizing it's really not. They think it's spirits haunting. We find out later it isn't spirits.
Either way, we don't want to stay here.
Yes.
Let's repair the ship.
Let's fix this ship. So, of course, we, you know, jumping ahead again, they fix the ship. We have that one guy in the control room, and as it's starting to lift, this giant, sand shark.
Yeah.
Giant sand shark. Can you say that 10 times? Sand shark.
Nope.
It looks like one of those deep sea fish where the mouth opens into this huge, it's like a sailfish or something. It opens in this huge triangle.
Yeah.
I've just seen gifs of them. They're terrifying.
Completely just halves the ship.
Yeah.
So, like, good luck with all the work you just did and blowing the sand out of the engine room and making it look sparkling clean. Like, no good.
It's completely destroyed
It's done.
at this point.
And they're just lucky that the guy didn't come back up for seconds to see if they were around, because now she's like, okay, well, let's make a makeshift,
sand sailor. Like the sand tribes used to get around on.
Exactly. To which they do. And then that's, you know, and then the other guy's still saying we should wait. And she's like, do you want to wait for this thing? And he's like, all right, let's do this.
Maybe not.
Let's do this. And so, of course, they, you know,
it goes from Tremors to Jaws.
Exactly. And they go and they make their way back, and we have the sand shark chasing them, and they narrowly escape, and thank God Korra, firebending as she can,
she rockets out.
Basically rockets out and gives him very bad heartburn at digestion, to where he's not a problem anymore. And we basically have them going back to the Oasis, to where, you know, at that point the Earth Guards are like, look, this guy's like, whatever beef the Queen has with you is probably way above my pay grade, which I thought was the perfect line. Extends his little hook. They shake hands, to which the guy goes, is that a dragon? Let's go get a drink.
We're gonna go get a drink.
And then, you know, and then that's when Korra runs into Lynn and Lord Zuko, obviously dragon, and Tonrock, and then we close off
just having a little powwow
on the episode. Yay! So basically, how did you guys feel about that whole escape and everything with the sand? It was very action packed, but also that whole scene with Ba Sing Se very intensified.
Yeah.
They balanced it pretty well with the cutting back and forth, but honestly, every time they cut away from Ba Sing Se, it's like, no, they're just in the desert. It's okay, go back.
Yeah,
go
Sand
back.
Shark, Death of Queen, Anarchy. You know,
well, you need some levity though, because like everything in Ba Sing Se was super tense. Like every time Zahir was on camera, he's like staring you down. You feel like, what is he gonna do? And
we're gonna murder someone today,
right? So I mean, it was nice to go back to this moment where everyone's like, oh my gosh, we had a great shipbuilding session, and then it immediately gets destroyed, and you're like, haha, funny, laugh.
And it's a good depiction of my emotions right now.
And can I just say, because we are good on time right now, so before we go into the next episode, I did forget to mention, I love the scene where Lynn finds Naga and Pabu.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're hanging out by the Jeep.
Yeah, and just
it's a little Jeep convention.
She didn't forget the treats like Korra did in the other episode, and Naga just basically slapped her with the tail. You know, so she's just, now leave me alone. And then, you know, that's when she radioed in Zuko and Tonrock and everything. But you know, I really like this episode because, again, my favorite thing about this series is we have really hardcore, serious, like, very important to the plots, but then there's always that really great comedy relief, whether it's Sokka, whether it's Bolin, and then again, when it's all, you know, as you guys are listening out there can hear that we're trying to stay on one topic before we jump, even though it jumps back and forth in the episode.
It's kind of hard to talk about sometimes.
Exactly, but we do it because it's easier to not get confused, but at the same time, I appreciate that they do that in the series because you have time to break away and find out what's happening at the same time, and when you're getting all freaked out, like, oh my God, she just suffocated the Queen. Oh, look, they're trying to rebuild a spaceship and there's a sand shark. Right. So I'm not getting as like crazy, like upset or just like freaked out.
Breathe. Yeah.
You know?
She can't anymore, but you still
can breathe. You can breathe.
Sad.
Yeah. So
kind of sad.
You know, but
the idea that it happened rather than the person it happened to.
Oh, you know, it's very interesting though, because there really weren't a lot of deaths in the last series. I mean, there was always like a trying very hard to not kill. I mean, even the Fire Lord didn't die in the end, and now we have this just person who's just a jerk, basically. Murder! Anarchy! Murder! I mean, I think it just shows how the series is maturing as its fan base from years ago were watching, you know, Avatar. You know, I mean, I was watching it, but I know that there was for younger children. Those guys are now in high school and so on. Yeah. So it's nice to see that it develops with the fan base.
Well, and Zahir, he has to know that removing a figurehead, that in the ensuing chaos, people are going to die. It's going to become a strong survive, weak, get mowed over sort of thing.
Exactly.
And he just doesn't care. No. We're trying to help the little people. The little people are going to get killed by the people who weren't as big as the queen, but are still big. A power vacuum is an ugly, ugly thing.
Yeah.
Right.
And he just set that off because it's the natural order of the world.
Yeah.
You're helpful. You're just helpful.
He had some issues and wasn't hugged enough, basically.
Oh, yeah. Just a little
bit. But anyway, going on to the next episode, which will be the final episode we're going to recap today.
And the final episode before the finale.
Well, before the finale. So we're really getting a lot of action here, building up to the 2 episodes that run back-to-back for next week when we're going to recap that. So we have the Ultimatum, which is episode 11. And basically, this is where we start off, where we see these riots and the chaos that is basically now bossing Say.
Right.
And we have these funny moments, of course, too, with the looters running to the palace and, you know, telling the guard, "You can't stop us." And the guard's like, "Stop you, I'll help you. I know where all the good stuff is." So,
because that guard probably gets paid minimum wage and puts up with a good amount of verbal abuse.
Oh, of course. I mean, well, look at the queen was just rude to everybody. I mean,
she was awful.
People
Where's Gunn in all of this?
Well, he ran off. I mean, he's gone. He's gone now. I mean, I wouldn't have dealt with that too. For her, you think he's going to defend you? Like, I don't think so.
I'm wondering where he is amidst all of the looters and the rioting, because he was the queen's unwilling but still right-hand man.
Oh, I would
loading up.
He's loading up and getting ready to get the heck out of there.
I hope so. But I like that man.
Retirement fund.
Yeah. This is what you promised me for last Christmas. And then you took it away. But anyway, so we have these riots, and then Bolin and Mako trying to figure out what they're going to do. Bolin asking, should we do something? Or I guess it's not really. Mako's like, it's not our fight. We have bigger things to worry about right now. Like, there's no way 2 people are going to be able to stop a whole bunch of looting all across Bossing Say in the upper ring. So basically, they figure out they need to get this airship after, you know, and we have this great moment where, you know, freaking Mako trying to be all, authority, I am part of the police and I need to commandeer the ship for, you know, for purposes, and they just kind of look up and
people who are looting it really don't care. They want to get all the good stuff off the ship.
Bolin's just like, let me handle this. He goes, hey, the queen's gold is up on the 3rd floor in the palace, you guys. And then basically they just drop what they're doing and get out of there.
Yeah.
And then of course, you know, we have this great moment where he goes up to try to fly the ship and just says, some people just do not have respect for other people's property. Now let's steal this airship. So, you know, basically Mako tries to take over, and we have that moment, oh, you think you can fly it better just because you dated a Sami? Yes.
Yeah, and it turns out he can. The other thing that they lay down here is that the people who were looting even stole the radio.
Yeah, they stole.
And that'll come into play later.
Everything. They stole the radio. They stole anything that would have been useful aside from the actual controls to fly the ship.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's the important part here, is they need to get the heck out. So, so of course, as they're flying, they see flames and just the entire city is in mass chaos. And like, dude, our family's down there. We got to get them out.
Yeah.
To which I actually have to give a lot of credit to Mako. I thought that land with having to float the ship right and leave the stairs down to tap onto the roof, pretty impressive. And then we come into play later on that probably wouldn't have been as skilled to do that when he lands, but
desperation.
Exactly.
Desperation.
Exactly. And of course, you know, don't get the airship too close to flames and stuff.
Yeah.
You know. And then we find, you know, Grandma and everybody there, and just, what are you guys doing? You got to get out. Grandma doesn't want to go. And
this is my home. This is where I've raised my family.
I can't abandon it. And then Bolin just says, look, you know, when me and Mako were on the streets, you know, we realized that it doesn't matter where you go as long as you have your family. And we think this moment is going to really sink into Grandma. And then she just goes, no, I can't leave. And all right, Grandma, you do well. And just throws her over the shoulder. But
we're out of here.
Wait.
Yeah.
grabs the picture of the queen portrait. Okay, let's go. So we have everybody climb back onto the ship. So thankfully, all of Bolin and Mako's family have been saved, and they're on the ship, and they're evacuating from all the chaos that they probably would have gotten really hurt in or died.
Yeah.
So basically, the cousin finds where the, they're all trying to look and everything, figure out where they're going to go. They explain to them they're trying to find Korra and that there was an airship wreckage that they have to find, and to which the cousin...
find it.
Yeah, the cousin finds it, which, of course, again, his comment, like, I could have gotten us out, guys, but I guess thanks for coming in with an airship. And
sure you could, dude.
You know.
Sure you could.
And basically, and I'm surprised at this, too, because I wonder what the time distance was between the time they left Ba Sing Se to the time where Korra and gang had gone on the sand glider, because their tracks were still in the desert that were very easy to follow. They found the wreckage and they followed the tracks.
But as long as there wasn't a very big windstorm or anything else huge passing
through. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is,
for a while.
That's why I'm saying I wonder what the time grabs.
There shouldn't have been tracks, though, because they were being followed by the sand shark.
But it could have been the disruption from the shark.
Maybe.
Because that left some big Tremor-style tunnels going on.
Yeah.
That's true.
Well,
point being, it worked.
Point being,
it worked.
Oh, I mean, I'm not going to question too much plot in a cartoon about, like, people having powers and all this other stuff. So,
but it's easy to question it because this series is so good with its own consistent internal logic and continuity.
It's true.
It doesn't violate its own rules very often.
No, and
so when the small things violate, you kind of put the big thing aside and go, wait a minute.
But at the same time, the wreck was actually way in the distance. So when they looked down, by the time they were trying to get over to it, it might have been at that point when they saw the tracks after the shark had stopped following them. So we could just do that for our own over-analytical minds, just to so we don't get annoyed by it because we're very nitpicky.
Right. But the tracks.
So, of course, they follow the tracks, and they find, obviously, it leads them back to the Oasis. I love Grandma, too. Like, is this where we're going to live now? Is this our new home? We don't know yet. Calm down. And then, of course, the first thing is that, Pabu finds Bolin, and we have that. Why is Bolin hugging that big rat? Oh, God, now he's kissing it. Grandma is like, you could tell where Bolin gets his comedy relief from. The family resemblance.
Grandma is wonderful.
She's great.
Grandma
Yin. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so, of course, they meet up. We see Naga, jumps on, Mako and licking him. My lips. And, of course, Korra and Asami. And then, of course, Lin, Tonrock, and Lord Zuko, to which we have a mini moment of Bolin fangirling out over Zuko.
What we mean is, it's an honor to meet you.
Exactly. And then, of course, Grandma mistaking Asami for the Avatar.
Yes.
Finding she's wrong, and the first comment says to Korra, "My, you're muscular for a girl." Thank you. You too. And Mako, why aren't you dating any nice girls like them? Awkward moments.
And the audience loses
and
it.
To which, Asami, so what's going on? What happened? How did you do? What happened? And then to which that's when the message is delivered, where Zahir basically tells them to tell Korra, like, I will wipe out the entire Air Nation unless you go give yourself up to me, and I will be up there. So, of course, they're freaking out because now, again, like you mentioned before about why it came into play, the radio and the ship wasn't working. They have to try to figure out how to get in touch with the air temple.
Nothing in this little city has a radio.
The portable,
Jeeps are short range.
One. No, it's the one that she carries, I think. But the portable one, it's like you said, short range.
Yeah.
And the long range one in the airship was stolen.
Exactly.
So they're going to head back to the metal clad.
But I think they think they radio ahead while they're heading there. They said we'll radio ahead to Sue to tell them to try to get in touch with the air temple.
Yeah.
So they head back to Zaofu, and basically Korra is saying, in the meantime, while we're trying to get in touch with them, I'm going to see if I can track down Zahir in the spirit world. I know where he hangs out.
Yeah.
So, Asami, watch my body.
Because it worked out so well last time.
Well, I mean, it did. She got him away from at least the Red Lotus.
True.
But,
in general.
Could you imagine how horrible it would have been if they were captured and brought to the Queen? I mean, then again, Korra wouldn't have been brought to the Queen. But it would have been a whole world of mess. That would have been a lot harder than an airship.
Yeah.
So, you know, Zahir, but she actually doesn't run into Zahir. She runs into our favorite, or my favorite. She runs into General
Everyone's
Iroh.
favorite. Uncle Iroh is
Uncle
one.
Iroh. And basically, you know, his old, I was looking for a teapot, but I found you. You always find things in the spirit realm that you didn't realize you were looking for.
I'm so glad that they kept him there and they just kind of keep pulling him out.
So happy.
We need sage advice.
Yeah.
Ta-da!
I mean, he was one of the, like, the most touching, like, he's the character that would make me cry in scenes from, like, the old series, you know, like the whole thing with the sun and, anyway. Pain, all the
Leaves
feels.
from the vine.
Exactly. So basically, she just tells him that she's stuck. I got this crazy guy, and I don't know what to do. And I'm the first Avatar since
Juan.
Since
the first Avatar.
Since the very first Avatar that I can't get in touch with any of my past lives for guidance, and I wish I could talk to Aang. To which Iroh says, well, you know, they might have had a really rough beginning, but Lord Zuko was best friends with Aang. He was his advisor. He knew him like the back of his hand. You know, you should probably try to seek advice from him.
Yeah.
To which she's very grateful. She didn't. She wouldn't have ever thought about that. And she says thank you to him and agrees that, you know, you're right about finding things in the spirit realm that you didn't know that you were looking for.
Yeah.
To which, good thing she phased back out at that point, because she runs into Zuko afterwards and realizes he's leaving and not going to the air temple with them.
He has to go protect his daughter, the Fire Lord.
I can't wait to see what she looks like and everything. Yeah, because you figure he's like mad old. He's like retired. So, I mean, it makes sense.
Drop that little piece of information like, everyone knows this. And the audience is like, what?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes sense.
It does. You know. It really does.
By the way, and I might be wrong, and fans, you could always comment to me about this, but I noticed in the episodes recently when I was watching them back to back to back today, I think the person who does the voice of Minghua was the voice of Zuko's sister. Azula. I'm not sure. It was like, I remember watching the episode and listening really hard, and one of the characters sounded like exactly like her. So I might look into it. I'm not sure.
Grey Delisle.
Yeah.
That's the voice actress.
Exactly. So we'll have to see. Somebody can let us know or Google later. But anyway.
IMDb.
But
don't spoil anything.
So she
We're
basically
watching the finale tonight, guys. Don't spoil anything.
I already watched it, but okay.
Oh, hush.
Okay.
I'm watching the finale tonight. Don't spoil
For anybody
anything.
who's ever watched any panels Katie's on, you know that she decides to stay unspoiled, even though we're kind of behind on the series. So just respect
Genuine reactions.
Yeah.
Genuine. You all just probably watched it within the last couple days yourself. So give her some time.
Just launched last
they
Friday.
watch this to see me freak out about things. It's shameful.
It's just,
The Sword Art Online fans know this.
Yes. So, anywho, so she goes and she asks him, what would Aang have done? I don't know, like, what I should do. Do I give myself up? Do I sacrifice myself? And he just basically said that he knows that Aang would be very concerned because his heart is with the Air Nation. Aang would have given anything to live to see this day where the Air Nation has basically come out of extinction and want to protect them with all his heart. But at the same time, even though she's like, oh, so I guess I should, and but at the same time, he knows that he's concerned as his duty as the Avatar. It is his responsibility to be concerned with all nations and that the world needs the Avatar.
Yeah. He had a more global vision.
Exactly. It can't just be, you have to separate your personal feelings, you know, which...
From your duty,
From your duty. And so basically we flash back to where Bolin is desperately trying to get in touch with someone at the Air Temple. Nobody is answering, and we get Meelo.
Who is possibly the worst person that they could have gotten.
I mean, he's like, what, 5? And he's just
hilarious.
And Bolin's like, I need to speak. This is Bolin. I need to speak to your dad. Bolin's not here right now. I'm Bolin. And of course, we have our comedy relief.
Right.
And to which Korra just snaps and, you know, after, you know, he's like, did you know he's out with the baby bison? Did you know he found a whole new herd of baby bison? You really? And then, of course, Korra jumps in like, this is your commanding officer. I need to speak with your father, Tenzin, right now. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. He doesn't sound like he sucks helium. And so he does. And finally, she's, come on. And Tenzin answers.
Thank
everybody
goodness.
at home is just breathing the sigh of relief, like, thank God. But then, as soon as we get into this, we hear Tenzin, and he goes, "Oh no, oh no,
they're here,
they're here."
Like he turns around and they're on an airship outside his window. It's like, seriously,
perfect
guys,
point for commercial.
Seriously.
Yes, and
if you're watching on Nick.com, you get this inane commercial about the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Yes. Thank God it was like 15 seconds.
Exactly.
So I don't want to watch this. Keep going. Keep going.
So basically, we cut back after that annoying commercial. We cut back into the evacuation is basically beginning. Tenzin immediately tells Meelo, like, just follow me and stay close. They go and they glide out of the room on their air gliders, and they're trying to basically tell everybody, like, we need to get out of here right now. To which Kai is then taking a group of people, and he's faced by Ghassan. Yeah. And then we see Minghua captures Opal and is having her up by the throat. And then, of course, Zahir cuts off Tenzin and his family. So it's very intense. Everybody's split up. And then we have Pulley in the airship above. Sniping and combustioning to anything that she can. And basically trying to prevent anybody who isn't directly faced by any of the rest of the Red Lotus to not escape. Yeah. To which...
it's really smart, but my gosh, it's so frustrating as a viewer.
Exactly. And then
someone just take her out, please.
Yeah. And then we have
one rock to the forehead.
Yeah, just a rock.
Just come on, just a rock. Come on.
But airbend a rock up there. I don't care.
And we have Zahir telling them, you know, like, if you guys just cooperate with us, we'll let you go. To which that's when all the separation kind of, you know, I skipped ahead a little. That's when it starts, because we have Bumi and Kaya, you know, while Jinora takes Kai and the rest of the group to try to make it to the air bison at the, you know, get away from here. Yeah. And we have all the main guys. Even though Bumi is kind of not a main, I mean, he's still very new. He's a noob. We have the
Aang kids.
Yes, we have the Aang kids and everybody running to escape. Well, also with the mom and everybody. And we have Bumi and Kaya facing off. Pulley is just basically the worst and constantly combustioning them so they can't even get away from the temple to cross this bridge to where the stables are. To which is then when Kai stands up and just says, I'm going to do something about this. And he tries to distract Pulley on the air glider. And, you know, it's working for a moment, but of course the inevitable happens and he basically gets shot down. Yeah. And this is a moment that's very sad, but we see that he airbends to where the direct force wouldn't have hit him straight on, but he does fall, to which we think the worst of him. And, you know, of course, Jinora.
Poor Jinora.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
watching this go down.
Shattered. And then, you know, all the while we have Bumi and Kaya trying to, you know, fight, and they're losing a battle between Ghassan and Minghua. And then, of course, we have
Tenzin.
We have Tenzin being, you know, getting his butt kicked. So
not
immediately.
Not immediately. He's doing really well
against Zahir. Yeah. I would imagine that Tenzin could probably have won because he is an airbending master.
Exactly.
And he's not necessarily wiping the floor with him, but he's got the upper hand in this one-on-one battle.
I mean, he even said it's such a pleasure to meet a master airbender, like when he ran into him.
And Tenzin's just like, don't care, taking you out.
Exactly.
And he would have had he not been sniped.
Everybody else basically lost. We have basically Kai gets shot down, and then basically Pulley scares off the bison by combustioning near them. So now the other guys don't have an escape route now that the bison are gone. We have Bumi and Kaya that got blasted off, and they're hanging on an edge to where Pulley is now there and is going to shoot them. They drop, and now they're alive, but they're battered on the cliffside.
Yeah.
And then that's when everybody is now converging onto Tenzin, which he actually, again, he does hold up pretty darn well, but he's got 4 people attacking.
And even against 4 people, he holds them off for what, like half a minute?
Yeah, and then
most people can't handle half a second.
Oh, yeah, and they're saying to him, like, give it up, it's over. And he says, as long as I'm breathing, it's not over. But we have this heart-wrenching scene where basically you see as it fades out that they're just beating him down, like wailing on him with every element. But in the very end, that we close it off the episode where we see, thankfully, Kai is alive. A branch, God bless those branches. They saved Zuko too, off the side of the cliff, and Baby Bison goes to save him, and we end the episode with, all right, thanks, buddy, yip yip, and he flies off to basically, I guess, somewhere we'll find out. And that is basically the build-up before the season finale that we have next week. What do you guys...
What a rough way to end.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
And so focused away from like Korra and the guys, we just see the battle between the Red Lotus and what's going on with everybody. And now it's just a matter of what's going to happen, even though I know, but let's pretend I don't.
You know, the hero always shows up at the last minute.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's a lot more to cover. But again, thank you so much, everybody out there. I just want to say, please visit us on iTunes. Okay, rate us 5 stars if you could. Leave us comments. We love your YouTube comments and everything like that.
We read everything.
We will comment to you.
And we respond to a good number of them. Seriously, we really like you guys. Please give us feedback.
And of course, if you do, that means that hopefully by the time season 4 starts up, when it does, we'll be able to start this on time.
Yeah.
So let them know you love us.
You know, not have a week break for Comic-Con.
Exactly.
Because that was, the vacation was worth it.
Exactly.
I know we're a week behind, but the vacation was worth it.
All right. So thank you guys again for joining us so much. Hopefully, Mr. John Quick will be able to join us next week for the season finale. Katie Cullen, where can the people find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Tumblr at Kiaxet. That's Kiaxet. I am also on the Attack on Titan and Sword Art Online panels on Sunday and the Ruby panel every other Thursday. We are filming this week.
Sweet. Nice. And Mr. Tauri Miller.
You can find me on Twitter at TauriJ. That's TauriJay. You can also find me on the Sword Art Online panel with these two, and also the Extant panel on Wednesdays.
Awesome. And guys, my name is Liz Rishmawy. Thank you so much for letting me take over for this week. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Lizzie Mawy. That's LIZZYMAWY. You can also find me later tonight for the season finale of The Musketeers. And again, like they stated, Sword Art Online.
And if you want to follow John, his Twitter is at NowQuick, and he is also on the Attack on Titan panel.
Yes. So thank you guys so much. Follow us, comment, rate us on iTunes, and we'll see you later.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.
Thank you for watching AfterBuzz TV on YouTube. For more of your favorite after shows and interviews, subscribe to our channel here, and be sure to share your opinion on the episode in the comment section below here. We'd love to see what you guys are buzzing about. Thanks again. Buzz you later.